Alrighty, welcome to another live stream. Of course, you see in the title, we're going to be repairing some solar charge controllers. These little guys. So if you watched any part of the channel, you realize that I would use these for my outdoor hurricane lantern solar lights that I conjured up out of bits and pieces and stuff like that. So I had a different version of these, and they suffered the same consequences that these do. Is that when you put the beans to the chip, you get a 50-50 chance either they're going to live or they're going to die. So biggest issue with these guys, and they're the heart of still sitting here of version 2. So that's version 2 of my little hurricane solar charge setup. There's batteries in there and charge controller and a smart computer and just like that, but in the heart of it is this, and in the middle of this is a little tiny charge controller chip that dies. So I got this thing right to the max of 1.5 amps, so that's as much as it can put out. And of course, since it's on solar, it's on a 6-volt solar panel. The biggest problem is that this chip gets so hot that it either survives or it don't. So I got a bunch of them here that have already perished, and the only way that I know that they have perished is that, you know, when you get up in the morning or at night, you don't see the lights on. So I do realize that the days are getting shorter. You don't get quite as much daylight as you normally do, as in the middle of July. But as we look at the controllers here, and the best way to test them is either two ways. I can either plug it into USB power, which will automatically tell me if it's good or bad. And if I plug the battery in, this one is charging, but this I just recently pulled this one out and it was not charging at the time. So when you plug these into USB power, 5 volts, you're gonna get a almost 700 milliamp charge rate. So that's a little short of the full 1.5 amps. I do notice that these things are very voltage sensitive on getting your full charge rate. So I could play with a power supply and bump up the voltage, and then as the voltage goes up, the amperage increases. So this one was questionable, as when I pulled it out and plugged it in, it wouldn't charge. So we got another one here that I know is definitely dead. So we plug it in here. It always gives me a 0.028. That's just the circuitry inside taking up that much power. But if I plug this in, we get a green clean light, but there's no charge rate. It's still at 29, 28, blah blah blah. So I know this one's dead. And if I plug it into a higher voltage, like 9 volts, so this is my little PD power 9 volt setup here, and if I plug this in to power 2, so if I put this on, put that on, it gives me 8.9 volts. Plug this one in, and then plug into the so we got a standby voltage of 0.31. So if I plug in a battery, which is partially charged, there's no charge rate, and there's a little red light just above the green one. That'll turn red if it's charging. So that one's dead. We know that one. We can do the same thing with this one. We get the same 0.31 milliamps. Plug the battery in, we'll get the green clean light, but no charge rate. So it's still stuck at 0.03 milliamps. So that one's dead. This one was questionable. Like I said, when I pulled it out, it wouldn't charge when I did this little experiment. This one will charge, so it wants to behave at, you know, half a 500 milliamps, so half an amp, which is still a far cry from the amp and a half. But like I said, these are very voltage sensitive on getting that perfect milliamp thing there. I got another one here that's been sodomized one too many times. It's actually got a missing cap on it, and this one is also dead as a doornail for the battery. I believe it's the cap for the battery input. So green clean light, we're stuck at you know, 31 milliamps, something like that. So these are clearly dead. So I had an earlier version of these chips, these charging boards. Had this, like I said, the same thing. They the charging chip failed on them because they overheated and stuff like that. Hi Pete, how are you? Good morning. 2:50 a.m. Must be your Monday off. I don't have a Monday off. It's Sunday, September 15th at 2:51 p.m. So it's a work night, kind of like a school night. So, you know, you kind of relax a little bit. So we're going to change these chips out. So like I said, I had another version of these things, and I bought chips for them and successfully repaired them. Unfortunately, I don't use them because I had these, because these are a little bit better, as in the way you hook them up, because they got modular plugs instead of having to solder the chips, actually the connections to the board. So these are the chips here, and of course you won't be able to see them because we got to go over to the microscope. So we're going to turn the light on and blind the overhead camera out, and then we'll switch over to the microscope. So these are the little chips on hand there. So I'll get it to where I need to see it, like that. So there it is, right there, smack in the middle. Of course, for you, it's not quite in the center. There we go, right in the center of the picture. But like I said, I get a better view than what you guys see. So right here, these are the dead chips. And you wouldn't even know it that it's bad because there's no blowouts or anything like that on these things. So that's that one. Here's another one. This one's got the missing cap down here that disappeared. Probably because I was soldering something to them and just sort of bumped it. But it still works as far as I know. Then we got this one. Same chip. Some of them got different numbers on them, but it's the same thing. So these are the chips we're after, and as you can see, I got them pegged out at the full amp and a half, and they died. Same thing with this one. Full amp and a half, and they died because they get hot. So here's the replacement chips that I've already opened. There's 3 I've already used for the other 3. So these are the same NXK, blah, blah, blah. So I got these from Mauser. So I had to do a lot of cross-referencing to get these because I couldn't find the exact replacement chip that these come on. So it's still compatible chip. So we're going to hot air these off and fix these up. So we'll start on this one here and change the chip over, and hopefully these they should work because they worked on the other ones, and it's basically the same thing. So we'll put some flux on there. We'll get the hot air fired up here, and hopefully I won't blow everything off the board. So we're just waiting for the hot air to come up to temperature. We're going to see if we can blow this chip right off the board. Shouldn't take long, but it's probably lead free. There we go. That's it. One dead chip. And we'll get the new chip out. There should be enough solder padding on there to just do a little swap. So on this guy, I put him in right orientation. So we got to rotate him. So the dot was in the upper corner. So put a little bit more flux down to hold it. So hopefully the surface tension will keep that there. We're not. That's one. So we'll cool that off by give it a little. I did have some alcohol around here. Here it is. Oh no, you shocked the chip. Oh my god. So we'll see if this works now. So go back to the overhead and turn that light off so you can see what I'm doing. I think it'll work. There we go. Move him out of the way. So there's that little guy. So first we'll go back to 5 volts. See if it works. Get my cords untangled here. Okay, so we're at 5 volts. We got a green light. Point 29 milliamps. So we'll plug in. We got a green. We got a red charging light, and we're up to 68 milliamps. So we have successfully fixed that one. So that's wonderful. Because before we weren't getting that. And then we can go over to so-called solar power. So you get that little burst in voltage. We'll plug in that sucker. So this thing is self-regulating. It's already hot as hell in here already. I mean, the chip's already hot. So you've seen it start at, it started at about 600 milliamps, and then it's self-regulated to about 400, and it's still continuing to decline. So one of them situations where the higher the voltage, the hotter that chip gets, and the hotter that chip gets, it starts self-regulating, but not enough to preserve it very well. So that's that one. So that one's successfully repaired. So we'll go on to another one here. And we'll get the microscope out. Again, move them over. Okay, why are you locked up? There. So we'll put our dot in the upper corner there. Change this one. Get our hot air running again. I'll get rid of that one chip that's dead. Put them somewhere I can throw them out. Notices worked. Wow, that's a rarity. Usually the notices don't work. But that's across the board for all the live streamers. And I think it depends a lot on the YouTube hubs or the server hubs, how YouTube sends their messages out. Because sometimes I'll update things on my end, and it'll takes a few minutes to actually reach across the board. That was a rapid departure. That was a rapid departure, that's for sure. Everything getting crooked here. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. So we'll get another chip out. I think the camera is crooked. There we go. We'll get another chip out. Picture's great. Yeah, baby. So this microscope setup is the early days of the Paul Daniels. So I got the same microscope. It's the double arm trinocular microscope from Amscope, and at the time the same camera. This one is capable of 4K, but you don't really see anything in 4K, so this thing's at, I don't know what it puts out, but it's got to be putting out at least 1080. pretty much good enough for YouTube and live streaming. So we'll cool that off a little bit, and then we'll test it to see how well it's doing. So that's the one we just fixed. So we'll just go in for the 9 volts. So I'm not constantly going back and forth. It's a little hot. So we got a charging light. So it's clearly charging. It's even got, of course it's hot, still hot. So 300 milliamps. So that's fixed. So these things were going out left and right because of the overheating issue. So I bought a bunch of them and I just swap them out, and then when I get enough of them I fix them. But it's almost to the point where I'm thinking about maybe changing the way I operate the hurricane lanterns outside. Maybe something a little bit more robust. But we'll try. I'm going to try a little mod with these. Well, not really a mod, an add-on, to see if it helps. Probably not, but it's worth a try, because you don't know unless you try. But other than that, the system that I put in works pretty well. I mean, I haven't had any problems with the thing coming on at night and shutting off during the day. It's just that these charging issues are kind of a menace. So for me, it does pay to fix these boards, because these particular boards from Adafruit are really, I would say, kind of pricey. So definitely worth the time to fix them, especially if you got a bunch of them. So we'll put that off to the side, and we'll test it when I get done with the last one. These little guys, they're only a couple of millimeters across. So we'll get another chip out, our last chip for repair. So I got 3 more left. So, like I said, I get stuff from Mauser. So here is the Mauser part number. It's 595-BQ2 4074 RGTT. And this is the lithium-ion battery charger and TI battery management. Blah blah blah. I bought 10. And then the manufacturer part number is BQ. Yeah, BQ24074RGTT, and then the Mauser number. Basically, you put a 595 dash in front of it. So I'll have to get some more someday. I'm gonna make another order with Mauser. Remember that I have them, and of course I write things down so I know what the hell they are. So solar charger. So I know what they're for, because I got enough of these Mauser package around. Some are full of LEDs for info globes, and some are resistors and other miscellaneous parts. So in other news around the laboratory here, I got word. If you remember watching the video series, actually I think I aired it not too long ago, the resurrection or rebuilding of David B's unicorn info globe. So a couple weeks ago I got notice that David B's info globe is starting to have issues again. He says that the blue LEDs were starting to get dimmer and dimmer, and some of the segments were not lighting up. So I says that's not usually a good sign. And then today I get another message from me saying that the greens are not lighting up now. They're very dim and getting worse and worse. So it looks like David B's unicorn info globe has reached end of life. So it can either be one or two things. Either the controller for the LEDs is going bad, or the rotating transformer that delivers power up to it is starting to fail. So granted that these things are well over 20 years old, they're not really worth fixing short of replacing the LEDs for the rotating arm. Once you start getting into the more major components of the thing, it's really not worth fixing. It's better off to find another unicorn, and they come in spurts from time to time on eBay. So I told him, I says, be on the lookout for a another unicorn, and hopefully maybe it's got a lot lower run hours on it, and we'll go from there, and then maybe do a little experimentation, swapping over the rotating arm, and that will really narrow out whether it's a rotating arm problem or something in the base that's going wrong, because there's only a couple of things that can go wrong with the darn thing. So he has to be on the lookout for another unicorn. Of course, mine up there, when I got it from eBay, it wasn't treated too kindly, and you've seen it. The globe was all scratched up and scuffed up, and probably dropped a couple of times. But I did refurbish it, and it's still running. Not quite as long as David B's. I think maybe it might be 6 months, 7 months. But I know his is about 8 months, because I remember working on it prior to Christmas Day. Actually, I think it was the 23rd or the 24th I worked on it, and I do remember shipping it out either on Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve. To get it back to them within the next, after Christmas 26th or 27th. So, with that, we'll test these two out, and we'll have some more working controllers. And I'm not really worried about the flux, because this is a no clean flux on these, so it doesn't really matter if I clean them. So we'll test these out, see if they work. So this one is not charging. Of course, that one does have the missing cap. So if I short them together, come up. Yep, there it is. So this one needs a cap. I need to pluck a cap up off of something and put a cap on that, because it's that's an issue. So that's not a problem. I think. Wait a minute. Yeah, there's a MacBook in here. There's a MacBook in here we can steal a cap off of. So we'll fix that in a little bit. We'll put that off there, and we'll test this one. So we got a green clean light, we got a charging light, we're at 1/2 amp, so that's good. That one's fixed. That's a no-brainer. That's an easy fix. So we need a cap. I don't know what kind of cap it is. I know it's a ceramic cap, but I don't know what value it is. So that's the one we're after. I'm going to say that's, well, the battery is 4 volts, so it's probably a 10 volt cap. I would say that's a 10 volt cap. So there's one right there we can measure. I don't know if this does capacitance or not.
Already on auto mode. DC voltage, AC voltage, capacitance.
Oh, it does. Let's see what this is. Really? That's weird. How about we test this one? No? It's probably too small.
Diode measure temperature auto mode AC wall capacitance measurement.
I don't think it really matters. It's probably a small little cap that it doesn't really matter as long as it's got one on it, because clearly it doesn't mind being shorted. So we'll steal one. Let's see if we can find one off this nice crusty MacBook board. Of course, we can always find a capacitor on this sucker. There's one right there. Let's see, how big is it? Fairly big one. So we'll take that one underneath that inductor. We'll steal that one, because I don't think it matters. And this should be a real treat to get this off, because it's a MacBook board. So we're going to crank the temperature out. For these little boards, no conformal coating on there. Because I had them in a, it wouldn't have mattered. Well, yeah, it does, because the board, the boxes I put them in are not 100% watertight, and there was actually water in them. But only on the bottom of the box, they weren't. The water never reached the boards, so they were never wet, and there was no corrosion on them. So I can put conformal coating on them, but it's really a kind of an optional thing. So I got to turn this so I can grab it with tweezers. It's going to take a lot to get this sucker off, because I don't have one of them nice fancy hot air stations. Give me your cap. Thank you. Yeah, these are all, them particular charge boards, it's all heat related, and they get hot enough where if you were to hold your finger on it for a length of time, yeah, it's quite uncomfortable. So they get quite hot enough to burn the chip out. And it's hot enough for the chip to go into self-regulation, where it tries to save itself, but these things are more of a hobby grade type of. I think these boards are more meant for very low voltage. They're meant to be, used at 1/2 amp. And I think they would last a lot longer. But I want the full beans, so I give it the beans. So this is going to suck Come on, foot there. Oh, I'm moving everything now. Get back in there. Because the thing is stuck to the tweezers. There we go. Now we can move them over. Worth a heat sink? Yeah, well, guess what? That's my little trick I'm going to try. A little heat sink. I think it's only a temporary solution to prolong the inevitable. Because you can only find a heat sink so small. So I found some heat sinks. And I'm gonna try it, but I don't think it's gonna do much. It might prolong the life of them a little bit longer, but not a huge amount. So that should work now. Of course, this whole sucker is hot now. Cool it off. Oh yeah, baby. There we go. So now we'll test that to make sure that works. So plug that in. There we go. So there's our lights just charging right away. I didn't have to short anything. So we're at the 300 milliamps because it's still quite hot. So, just like Pete said, is it worth the heat sink? So I did get some heat sinks, the smallest ones I could find. You gotta remember this little chip here, it's only a couple of millimeters wide. We're talking 1, 2, 3 millimeters. 3 by 3 millimeters. So the smallest heatsink I could find is 9 by 9 by 12. So 9 across, 9 wide, 9 wide, and 12 millimeters tall. So this is what I found, this big honking thing. Of course, compared to that little chip, this thing is huge. So there is the so-called heat sink. So, yeah. But I guess it's better than nothing. So that's that. Of course, there's a cap in there that is taller than the chip. So we'll have to offset it off of that sucker. So unplug that because the cord is in my way. And we'll put this little heatsink on there just for shits and giggles. So there's my ridiculously huge heatsink. My ridiculously huge heatsink for this thing. So yeah, okay. So there it is, the chip way down there, and there's the heatsink. So of course there's that huge capacitor that is sort of in the way. So that's that. Kind of ridiculous, but I think it's really the only solution that is plausible to heat sink it. Yeah, I still don't have the right capacitor on there. So we started off at 600 milliamps, and then now it's dropping to 550. It's still continuing to drop. $500. So 550. I don't know if I drop some alcohol on it, it'll cool down. Yeah, it goes back up to 600, 700. So the higher the voltage, the hotter that chip runs. So under the solar setup, I don't know how high the voltage really goes, because it varies depending on the day, how much sun is hitting the solar panel. So at 5 volts, which technically what's supposed to, them solar panels I got outside are really supposed to be, they're supposed to be a 5 volt. They're actually a 6 volt. Solar panel. So at 5 volts, they're charging at 700 milliamps, which keeps that chip a little cooler. So that's an option. I could go and put these little heat sinks on them, the other ones that are outside, and maybe zip tie the heat sink around the board, just so they, because I know the heat cycles and the cooling cycles of being outside will more than likely make them things fall off, because we were talking about 3 millimeters by 3 millimeters, and we got a big honking 9 millimeter by 9 millimeter heat sink on there with not a lot of contact patched to securely secure that heat sink to the chip. So we will experiment with that. Of course, that'll be a long duration experiment, because of the I got to see if they burn out relatively quickly. But that one chip that I think that was the first one that I fixed, the one with the black connectors. That was the one I just recently swapped out. This was a brand new chip that I brand new board out of the package that I put outside. It stopped charging. It was a little flaky, and then it started working again. So I just changed the chip on there, and just because I didn't trust it. So that'll be that experiment. So if that don't work long haul, it's still a good setup, because like I said, it's in version 2 that I have not put out to work yet. It's the heart of the whole system. So if that's not reliable, and it's only going to last a couple of months, it's really not worth having them out there. But I did get some bits just in case I have to improve upon it. So the first bit is this guy. So this is a 12 volt lithium iron phosphate cell. So this is supposedly a 7 amp hour. And when I got this from Amazon, it was dead. It was dead, where the charger would not charge it. I actually had to jump the damn thing to get it to charge. So that, and you're going to be like, well, that's 12 volts, and you're using on a solar light that's like 3 volts. Well, yeah. Remember this thing? Yeah. So the PIR, or light sensor module, and buck converter combined in one. So I had that, I think it was a live stream of this thing. So you remember that. So this is set up for 12 volts. So there's 12 volts right there. So that could work. And this is a lot more robust setup, because it has the buck converter, a 5 amp buck converter. So a little LED is not going to burn it out, or I should say 2 LEDs is not going to burn it out. And I got them 2 6-volt solar panels outside. I might wire them in series, or I might go and tap into the bigger solar panels and put another charge controller on it. So another lithium iron phosphate charge controller. This is a little guy. This little guy is supposedly 10 amps. I don't think it would last very long, but should have no problem charging this sucker up in a short amount of time. Even if this thing charged at an amp, it should charge during the day. And I do know them solar panels I got out in the shed, they are capable of doing 3 amps. So 3 amps and a 7 amp hour battery should charge it up fairly quickly. So if that little experiment don't work, this whole setup will be put in place. I'll literally glue this whole contraption. So I'll put this sucker on there, and then I'll put that solar charger on there and run some wires to the solar panel, and of course the wires going out for the lights, and that'll be a solution in case there's another problem. So that is maybe in the future works, which would be pretty cool. And then to wrap this one up for today, you remember the little live stream about this little guy? So this is the one where outside the diaphragm went bad, and I swapped the diaphragm with a brand new valve, and I says I'm going to get the parts to restore this valve back to new. So that's what's in this little package from Sprinkler Warehouse. So I ordered a couple of solenoids because they do go bad. I've had a couple go bad. And then I ordered some diaphragms. So here are the diaphragms. So we will restore this irrigation valve back to brand new, just in case I need it, or I should say add a zone. So in case I need to add a zone, I have another valve. So here is the diaphragm per se. So these little guys are so simple to fix. So you see me on that live stream take it out. So now we're going to you can just imagine me taking it apart as I put it back together. So this is the sealing surface of the valve, and there's some black magic going on with this tube here that makes this whole contraption work. So this thing literally just sits on top. Of course, you get it the right way around, so the funnel portion goes like that. There's a little retaining ring that holds the spring, and then this apparatus. So that's all that's on the underside of them suckers. So all you got to do is just line everything up, get it nice and straight, and screw down the retainer. Of course, I'm going to do it like this because it's easier. But when you got this thing in the ground, or on top of the ground, or in a valve box, you're going to be doing this. So there. That restores my irrigation valve back to brand new. And of course, these are the 24 volt alternating current solenoids. So solenoids just literally just screw on top of the manual valve. So easy swapping of solenoids. And of course, this is the manual control of the whole thing. So you can either operate it electrically, or if you don't want to operate it electrically and you need to test the zone, you can open them manually, and this will turn the water on. And down here, this one is a bleeder valve. So if you got a valve that's not quite acting just quite right, you just unscrew this and lets the air out, and then the irrigation valve will turn on. That zone, whatever it's connected to, will turn on until you close this, and then it will reinstate the valve workings, and then it will shut. And this little guy is actually a flow regulator, so this thing has everything all in one. So that's pretty cool. So that's that parts. And what else? So I got anything else to show? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I do have another something. We got action here. I got oh, that ain't it. Where is it? I got one of these little guys. High precision internal resistance tester for batteries. So this thing, I wanted one of these for a little while, and of course now there's a bunch of tubers that got them, and they get them for free from Banggood and all that other crap. I don't get anything for free, very little, except for wonderful people like Pete that spend lots of money on goodies for show and tell, which I have to start getting to them projects someday. But there's only so many hours in a day. So here is this little internal battery tester here, and this is for turning the internal resistance of batteries, and to tell whether they're good or bad, because especially with 18650s and 2650s and lithium iron phosphates and lead acids and crap like that, you always hear about internal resistance. So once the internal resistance starts going bad, basically the battery's bad. So there's charts on the interwebs of good resistances and bad resistances and stuff like that. And this is self-powered and all that other good stuff. So I need to move some stuff so I can move this microscope head out of the way. So I gotta unplug the hot air station, get that out of the way, so that I can move this head out of the way. That's better. So here's that. So this tests a battery, so we'll turn it on. And of course everything in here is automotive or automatic, blah blah blah. And of course you get the manual. This, that, and the other thing, blah blah blah. But this thing is for testing batteries. And of course I'm a big 18650 guy, so I got all kinds of 18650s. I got 26650s. I got this, that, and the other thing. So here is a brand new, soon to go into my automatic watering system, because it's a bigger battery. So I think this is a 5 amp hour. This is a 21700. So let's test the internal resistance of a 21700. And of course, this is not really the best way to do this. I should have a battery holder for these things, but I don't have one. I like to get one of them spring-loaded jobbers. So we got 3.7448 volts, and we got a resistance bouncing around of, well, you can see. So I don't know if that's from holding it by hand or something like that. I really don't know. So I guess we could put it in something. Maybe we can shove it in here. Maybe it'll make better connection. I don't know. So that's a little better. Still bouncing around, but I think that's more normal. So about, I guess you would have to take an average. Do a mental average. Of course, I didn't read the instructions or anything like that, so I'm kind of like just playing with it. So that's a what I call a good battery, because it's a name brand battery from blah 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 whatever. So we got some questionable ones here. Of course, here's another name brand battery. So this is from ooh, this is a Power Attack. Power Attack. Yeah, that's questionable. Let's see what this one says. So let's see. Can we make it stop bouncing around all over the place? Probably not. Of course, there's probably a specific setting that this should be on. But we can play and just keep playing. There we go. This thing is a little flaky, I guess. There we go. So I don't know, kind of all over the place. Doesn't really give you a good reading on the ohmage, which is kind of odd, but it's probably my fault because I'm not doing it right. So let's see. Here's a brand new battery that's never been taken out of its package, and this is, I know, one of these crappy. This is one of them crappy Chinese flashlight batteries. So let's see if this thing's even charged. This thing's been sitting around here for forever. Of course, this is a 4-wire setup. These probes are 4 wires, so that's probably part of the problem. Because I don't have a proper holder to hold it. So that seems to make an improvement. Let's see, do I got a holder of anything around here? Anything that's not crappy. Will this hold an 18650? I think so. I think this is one of them boards that I blew up. Of course, I need something better than this, I would guess. So let's see what this does. It's like really open line. So 117 mega ohms. So I think there's a chart on the Googles. I think there's a chart. Let's see, 18650 resistance. Internal resistance chart. Okay, so this thing is saying, I don't know, 200 some odd mega ohms. Of course, that resistance has gone up, hasn't it? It's kind of bouncing around all over the place. So let's just say that's 85 mega ohms. So that's well beyond that's so-called a good battery. Because a good battery is 150 to 250 mega ohms. And a bad battery, as in fail, is over 500 mega ohms. A poor battery is 350 to 500 mega ohms. A marginal battery is 250 to 350 mega ohms. And then we already went over the good one. So supposedly this is a good battery. Supposedly. Who really knows? So let's go back to that first battery I got out. See what that is. Of course, this is a protected cell, so it's ultra tight in there. So 50 mega ohms. So that would be considered a good battery. So that's supposedly a good battery. Because it comes from a good source that came with a torch. So that's supposed to be a good battery. I wonder if I got any crappy ones. I should have a crappy one, like a Jamie Fire or a some other weird brand. Let's see here. There's a bunch of them. Ooh, here's one. We got an Ultra Fire. Oh, we all know about the Ultra Fires. Yeah, 4,200 milliamp hours. Get the hell out of here. That's a freaking lie. Because there ain't no such thing of a 4,200 milliamp hour battery. because a good 18650 only goes up to 3600. That one's completely dead. Nope, it's got 2.8. $324 mega ohms. Yeah, this one is the getting to the marginal. This one's well into the, yeah, this one's going up. 330. This one's what you call marginal. So that's at Ultra Fire 4200. It's really only about 500 milliamp hours. So that's a bunch of crap. Oh, let's see. We got a bunch of other crappy batteries. Some of them are actually pulls that I pulled out from crap. Oh, here's a crappy batteries. This one's supposed to be like a 2500 milliamp hour or 3 amp hour battery. It's only 1133. There's a piece of crap. And over 300. Get to that close to that 350 mark, so I would say this is a piece of crap. Of course it is crap because it's supposed to be a 2 amp hour and it's only 1133. So that's a junker. Here's another crappy battery. This one was on something. It was definitely spot welded to something. See if this one's any good. $300s. Yeah, I would say 300 would be. I would be considering about the age of it and the capacity of it, and it might go into the dump. What's this crap? Let's see, that's a Lumencraft battery. So that comes with the Lumencraft, supposed to be a 2200. So that comes with the, this is a protected cell. Ow! So that didn't, that one's so tight. Gotta get it back out. Take this crap off. I gotta fix. Definitely gotta find a battery holder for this. I know they make nice ones that are like pointed on the ends. Yeah, this one's dead. Oh, there we go. 78.8 mega ohms. So that's a good battery. That's a good battery. Let's see what other crap we got in here. There's something that's all split apart. I have no idea what it is or where it come from. Yeah, it's supposedly a good battery. It's 80 mega ohms. Fully charged too. So I pulled that out for something, so there's a bunch of them in there. Let's see, what other crappy batteries are in here? How about this thing? One of them generic ones that have no name on it. I pulled it out of something. Oh, I probably know where it come from. I think it was one of the batteries I pulled out of that top-end vacuum battery. Vacuum battery pack. Get a better connection. There. Yeah, better connection. Okay. $50 mega ohms. That's a good battery. Probably a good battery, but no capacity. That's probably why I pulled it. So here's a bunch of 18650s I bought from Walmart. They're a Westinghouse brand. This one was definitely outside because it's got rust on the end cap. Is it any good? Who knows? .2 mega ohms. So that's supposed to be a good battery. Ooh, how about this one? Oh, bummer. It's a 54. Let's see. Anything else interesting? Probably not. I think that's about it. Oh, there's one in there. What's in there? Definitely one of them situations where you go through all your crap and you start purging garbage that you ain't going to use. Even if it's a good battery, if it's low capacity, it's like, what's the point? If it's not 2 amp hours, then it's like, it's time for you to go. I think I got a purple battery laying around here in eFest. So this was a pull from something. That should be interesting. How can you show no resistance? Bad connection, of course. $30 mega ohms? Yeah, that's a good battery. That's a good battery. Don't know what the capacity is. Probably bad capacity. That's probably why I yanked it. Let's see. Purple battery. There should be a purple battery in here. Where are you? I know you're in here. Seen you. Here we are. What's an eFest? My remaining eFest. So here's an eFest. I had these guys, I put these in the top-end vacuum. So these are 3,500 milliamp hours. I think they tested at about 35, or at least 3 for sure. But it's only a 20 amp cell, and that top-end vacuum draws more than 20 amps on full power. And these would not, they performed worse than the factory battery pack, as in runtime. So anything other than a high, like a medium or low, you would get like an ungodly amount of runtime. So 300, yeah, really? That high? Yeah, that's better. 50. So 50 mega ohms, that's definitely a good battery. But anyway, I changed these out to a heavier duty cell that I had a video on my channel of swapping them out and putting a better Molus 18650 cells in that top-end battery pack, and then welding it all together and all that other good stuff. So I used these. I took the E-Fests and I put them in these things, these Warsun work lights. So I went from a 2-cell to and I stuck a 3-cell in it. So 3 18650s in parallel for an ungodly amount of runtime. So that's where them other 6 went, because that battery pack had 7 cells in it, and I replaced it with that. So this is a good little toy to have. So that's a good toy. Just got to have a decent battery holder thingy to properly test them. Unless you want to fidget with, is the connection good enough? So that's good. So it's a nice little toy. Good to have in the hoard for testing purposes. So let's see. We've done a lot here. We fixed solar charge controllers. How many do they have? 4 or 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we fixed them. I'm going to try a little heat sink action to see if that prolongs the life of them. And if not, we'll change the setup and make something a little bit more robust. See if that works. Of course, it should work because it's a heavier duty. 12-volt system, and just buck it down to 4 volts or 3 volts or 3.5 or whatever them lights take. I think 3 volts, 3.2 anyway. And then let's see, what else did we do? We talked about David B's dying unicorn info globe. It's worse than ever now. I think he just texted me. Not texted me, but WhatsApped me. So it's one of them situations where it the blue started going bad. And I think the blues are just about completely out, and then it started spreading over to the greens, and now that's becoming intermittent. And the next one is the red. The red is like some of the LEDs are lit, so it's missing 1 or 2 segments on the bottom. So now it's a point where he went out for a little while and then come back, and the green is back on fully again. That sounds like I think that's a microcontroller problem, or it's a power delivery problem where the rotating transformer is failing, which is more than likely why it's failing, because if it's bright 1 minute and not the next, and then comes back, it could be a combination of both. Could be the controller, could be the rotating transformer there failing. But these things are these things are over 20 years old. They've outlived their lifespan, which is commonly about 7 years. Then manufacturers would say, well, after 7 years or so, they're going to just toss them out anyway. They'll get tired of looking at them or to put them away. But some people still have the damn things in service, and you know, they're still running. I mean, you get one from eBay, you plug it in, it's going to run. Is it going to be nice and bright or like brand new? No, it's not. Unless you get one that's been, you know, hardly used or something like that, which I have found. I did have a mint unicorn, but that one got gifted to JK18 for his birthday present, along with an internet info globe. So I got one. So the one that I got is, you know, that one that I said earlier that it wasn't treated very kindly, and I rebuilt the whole thing, LED wise, and it's still working, and everything is bright, everything is uniform, the blue, the green, and the red. So, you know, his is just reached the end of its life, which, you know, all these electronic devices is going to reach the end of their life, and that's just a fact, you know, of anything electronic. They're going to reach to a point where they don't run no more. I mean, you can only keep them running so long, and I gave David B's 8 more months of super life, of having brand new LEDs put in it, and a battery mod to keep the memory alive and stuff like that. But it reached the end of life earlier than expected. So, like I said, that one had at least a life of 8 months, because it wasn't hardly working at all, or the LEDs were so dim it wasn't really worth having it on. So he'll have to be on a lookout for a new unicorn. Of course, they come in spurts on eBay. You know, like right now there's maybe 1 or 2, but they're fairly expensive for the you know, $50 or more. You know, I don't really spend any more than $30, not including the shipping to buy one. So, you know, you gotta wait. Same thing with them Olympia Info Globe Pluses and phones. They were none to be had for a long time, and then the ones that did pop up, they were well over $100, and they start asking. There's a couple of them on eBay right now. They want over $100 for the thing. Thing wasn't even that much. It was not that much more money when they were new, and you're going to buy something that's, you know, probably 15, 20 years old. You know, same thing. You know, maybe no more than $50 for a Info Globe phone, which is what I got here running. Apparently not a lot of hours on it, other than like I had that live stream of that pogo pin for the phone itself being jacked. So I just took it apart and put that pogo pin back in. Now the thing is working perfectly, and it's beautiful. So unfortunately, it's not one of them speaker phones where you can just push the speaker phone and lay the phone down, because you get the people that go blah 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 blah, and it's like, oh, you done talking? Okay, that's fine. So I guess that's it for this particular live stream. How long has it been running? An hour and a half. So no complaints from YouTube for the streaming on a Sunday afternoon. Usually I got streaming problems on Sunday morning, so I tried a little different. So I guess, like I said, that's it for this particular live stream. Now I got to put all this stuff away. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next live stream. Bye-bye.